Yeah, I'm Urinstein. CrossCode no menu glitches is the category. No menu glitches means we don't have access to a certain group of glitches, which are very, very powerful. They include wrong warps, they include infinite money, and that cheapens the game to some degree. The 90% speedrun is about 30 minutes long, and this run should be an hour and a half, hopefully. So yeah, there's still a bunch of glitches left, and I will explain them on the way. So yeah, let's get right into it. CrossCode is a action JRPG, and JRPGs have a lot of story, but we'll be skipping pretty much all of it. The only story that's relevant to us is basically the story of Avatar: The Last Airbender. We will be getting the 4 elements and mastering them, and once we do that, we can go and defeat the big evil man. If you are afraid of spoilers, I don't think anything is even remotely a spoiler until about an hour into the run, when I will be fighting and killing a big whale on top of a tree. Oh, thanks for the chat. Also thanks Vistro and Tam and Wamba. The first 10 minutes of the run are kinda linear, and we spend them basically acquiring the main abilities. Right now we can't do even the simplest things like doing melee slashes, but we can do fun things like this, like skipping that small section right there. The game consists of puzzles, combat, and platforming, and they interact in funny ways. And for us, the most funny ways is when we can replace puzzles with platforming and replace puzzle type boss fights with sort of combating them into their face and killing them before the puzzles get relevant. But we'll get there when we get there. For the time being, the first relevant speed tech we will unlock will be quite basic movement tech. The first one of which is what we call the long jump. Interestingly about this game, even though it involves a lot of platforming, you don't have a jump button. All you can do is just run towards an edge, and the character will jump all by herself. Always the same length, always the same timing. So how can you exploit that? We can cancel the jumping state by performing an action like a melee attack. And once we cancel the jumping state, we can do a dash, for example. And dashing is faster than jumping. Dashing is faster than running, as they so often are in indie games from the year 2018. And so, as we dash in the air after a jump, we get more distance and we can cross further gaps. And as the game was not designed around those distances that we can cover, we can skip quite a lot of stuff. Some of it is very benign. At other times you can skip multiple minutes just with a simple long jump. There you go. The other movement technique will be infinite dashing. Right now we can't infinite dash because we don't have a guard. The game lets you dash 3 times, and after that there's a penalty where you have to take a bit of a break. You will see it right here. So I'll be dashing 3 times, that's the best I can do. And this NPC over here is running normally. And you can see it's already faster. So it's already good. And you can also already dodge enemy attacks with it and stuff. But once we unlock our guard, our shield, we can just use a shield in between every dash. Or maybe every 3 dashes, I'll be doing it between every dash. And that will cancel the counter, the dash counter. The game will forget that we already just dashed. And we can immediately do another dash without adding to the dash counter and inflict ourselves with a dash penalty. Oops. Menuing. The beginning is not that interesting as we don't have any interesting abilities. And speed tech. And here there are a few tutorials in the first place. Alrighty. And for now the combat will just be me spamming left mouse button and right mouse button a bunch. That is literally all we can do. I mean, we could shoot them instead, but that does less damage. So you won't be catching me shooting anyone unless I really have to. And the same goes for this boss. We'll be spending a lot of time waiting for the cycles, and in between the cycles we will be spamming a bunch of left click. This boss does have a quick kill that I have not learned, and I will not bother to. It is so precise and is so RNG dependent that I can't be asked to do that. Yeah, so we just wait for this crab to jump up and down. And maybe I can actually show what the long jumps are for. So yeah, if you remember, the long jump is we let the character jump, then we perform a slash and a dash. So maybe here I can show off what funny things you can do. Yep, we can we can clip through the clamp from above. That's not what I wanted to show, but that's how it goes, I guess. It's more funny to land on top of the crab, but yeah. That's this boss. That's the first section of the game. We're gonna leave the ship, and you can see me infinite dashing now. So, whoops. Unless I'm doing goofed, I should not have a dash penalty, and you'll see the shield popping up every now and then. Oh lord, okay. The next section of the game will be a sort of introductionary dungeon. So there will be a mix of combat and puzzles and platforming. So if you can and if you wish, you can pay attention to the long jumps I perform there. I will not be talking too much about the long jumps going forward. So pay attention to when I jump off an edge and do a slash. That's a long jump. Oops. Some of them can be kind of technical, but most of them, well, actually, well, all but one here are pretty simple. I want to take the time though to talk about something else, and it is a concept that I invented specifically for the commentary of this game, and I call it horseshoe level design. Horseshoe level design is what I call when there's a game section, or maybe a level in a game, where the beginning is very close to the end. And casually speaking, that is just kind of neat game design in my opinion, because maybe it sets you up to go back to the main area or something. In speedrunning, it's obviously very nice because maybe you don't have to go through the beginning at all to get to the end. Like here is an entrance and here is an exit, and the same thing at the bottom. So we'll go through this horseshoe right here. This top one. It's 3 rooms in a row, and we'll come down. We'll come out of that top door, and here I'll perform a tough jump. I already messed it up because I took too long to set up. Give me a minute. Oh my god. I need to concentrate on this one. I need to concentrate on this one. I could just like go through the cycle, but I'm not gonna. I can't believe this. My timing is so off on the second jump. Okay, it's off on the first jump now too. I'll do it one more time. I can't believe this. I didn't fail it most of the time in practice. So yeah, the horseshoe design. So there's a top loop here, and then there's a bottom loop, and you're supposed normally to go through both of them to be able to go on to the next section of the dungeon. I'll be doing the top one here, and then I will solve both of them. So I will have to place a well-placed shot over there, that solves the bottom portion, and what I did right there is basically this. I shot this puzzle, this switch over here. And that's an important lesson for the rest of the game, because there will be a lot of horseshoe, and every time I say horseshoe, I expect you to know what I'm talking about. It means that I'm skipping a lot of the game, because of how the game is designed. Now, that's a fairly benign horseshoe. It saves maybe 40 seconds. I'm not sure. I haven't done the bottom section of that room in years. There are less benign horseshoes. And to explain the next one, I will have to tell you that this game was in early access for a long time. And because of that, the way it was designed is chronologically they would polish pretty well each area of the game as they released it, and they would release them chronologically. So what you're seeing right here, they created the very, very first of all the game's areas. And they had to make some decisions in the beginning that might have not paid off in the end. What we're gonna run up to is gonna be a room with a bunch of teleporters, because I believe, I don't have a quote on this, but I believe that in the beginning the developers meant to make a sort of central teleporting place, and then in the entire overworld there would just be a couple of teleporters that all teleported you back to there, and that place is called Cross Central. That doesn't actually get used in the game anymore. Now the game has a more straightforward teleporting system where you just open the map, you choose a location to teleport to, and you do. So Cross Central exists, and it's very early in the game, and it has a bunch of teleporters to all over the world of CrossCode, of Crossworlds rather, and the only people who will ever use it, no one will ever use it casually, the only people who use it are speedrunners, because it's basically a bunch of horseshoes that have the beginning of the game very, very close to, well, every other section of the game, and one of them is the very end of the game. We just unlocked combat abilities, or combat arts, special attacks, so to say. And so here we are in Cross Central, and here's these barriers. Normally you're supposed to come from the other side, so when I do this, I can't pass this. But when I place my combat art, which gives me a lot of momentum, and then I tell the game that I want to see a tutorial on how to use a combat art that I just used, the game's gonna be like, oh, right, I want to show you the tutorial. I totally forgot about the barrier that I was supposed to catch you in and send you back to the other side. So now I slipped through that barrier, and I'm at the very, very latest overworld section of the game. The enemies here are level 50, I'm level 4. There's nothing I can do here. There's absolutely nothing I can do. I can't fight the enemies, I can't open any chests. The reason I'm here is another weird quirk of the development. So as I said, they would implement the overworld areas chronologically. They would do that chronologically, so they would give you the overworld section, and then the players could explore them and do side quests and fight the enemies, but there would be no story. The story wouldn't have caught up to that place yet. And so in a later update, when the story would come, the developers had a system in place to send you back to the story. You would get a pop-up because the game would notice you're not really supposed to be here yet, are you? And that was a very convenient thing for the people who played this in early access over the years. Now it still exists in the game, and casual players will not run into it because the game is finished. The only people who will run into it are speedrunners, and we use it to send us to a few almost arbitrary positions in the place in the game. So I sent myself to the very end of chapter 3, I think. I'm not sure on the number, it doesn't matter. I just skipped an entire overworld section that I don't need. I skipped a bunch of cutscenes, a lot of text that I would have had to skip. I didn't do any of that. I just used the ability of being in the wrong place way too early, and the game recognizing that and sent me to a convenient place. This convenient place is called Bergen Trails. It's the second overworld area. And this second overworld area has a dungeon in it. And these are the only things we are interested in. We're only interested in dungeon, because, as I said before, all we're going to do is collect the 4 elements, and then we're going to beat the big bad man. And elements you get in dungeons. So the gameplay loop of the speedrun is going to be, you go to an overworld area that has a dungeon, you do the quest that lets you into the dungeon, and that's what I'm doing right now. The first quest to get in the first dungeon is just walk around and talk to people. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be talking to a few people. And on the way I'm doing some shopping for items and gear, so don't be confused. Gonna eat some, get some spicy buns. Just some food. Food items, by the way, they just make my attack higher. So every time you see me eat, my attack goes up for a minute or two. So yeah, we're doing this quest, and once we do it, we are allowed into the dungeon. And the dungeons they consist of 2 halves. The first half will take 5 to 10 minutes, and at the end of it, there's maybe a mini boss or something, and you get the element. So you would think that's all we ever need, because as I said, all we really need are the elements. Once we have the elements, we can technically beat the game. However, there are interesting things in the second half of the dungeons. That could be, for example, a key to open chests. And opening chests gives you good gear, and gear is king in this game. Levels are not quite as important as gear. Certainly not for base stats. So that could be an incentive to finish a dungeon. Whoops. Why did I take off my hat? Another incentive to finish a dungeon could be a combat upgrade. So at the end of a dungeon, as you would expect, there will be a boss. And some of these dungeon bosses give you a combat upgrade. That means you get access to higher level combat arts, so special attacks. Higher level combat arts are very, very powerful. Some of them are very exploitable, and we will really need them to get some quick kills, to progress more easily. And yeah, so the combat upgrade also, it increases our SP bar. SP just, special points. It's the points that allow us to use special attacks. So that will be the general structure. We will be doing that. We'll go through that structure a couple of times until we're ready to go to the end game. And so here we are in the first dungeon. The first dungeon, we will do the first half, of course. And then in the second half, we will get the first key that allows us to open bronze chests. Whoops. And then we'll dip. So now you know ahead of time why we're here and what we're going to do here and when we're going to leave. And so, as the little introduction dungeon, this one consists of puzzles and fights. Usually it goes like puzzle, then fight, then puzzle, then fight. And there will be a mini-boss. But there's not much I can tell you, other than I'm totally skipping most of the puzzles. I don't know if you paid attention to the last puzzle I just solved. That didn't look super intended. And here's a horseshoe normally supposed to solve a puzzle, and then this switch comes down and you can attack it. But by doing a long jump, you can just hit it up there already. So that saves a bit of time. And as for the combat, all I can say about the combat is really that there goes a lot of thought is put into the combat. Less so by me than by others. I just copy the strats. Oh, nice. The combats are pretty choreographed. That's how you say it in English. So you want to be well positioned. You might want to do things at certain times, etc., etc. I can't go into detail about almost any of the fights. So just trust me. I practiced them. And if they look smooth, it's because Someone put thought into it, and I put practice into it. And if they don't go smooth, it's because I suck. But yeah, there's not much more I can say about the dungeon. I will be going around and doing those things. So we would have a good fair amount of time for maybe some messages. Oh, he's currently not at the station.
We certainly have time for some messages. Yeah. Why don't we talk a little bit about some incentives? For example, coming up later today, we've got Tohu, the embodiment of Scarlet Devil, run by F. George. And if we hit that incentive, then George will show us an extra stage run. We're currently there at $25 out of $100. That's still, but we still have some time to go, so I'm confident that we can meet that incentive. Also later tonight, we've got the boss shuffle incentive for the Illusion of Gaia randomizer. And if we meet that, then Z will have to deal with randomized boss locations in a randomizer. We're currently there at, nobody has donated toward this incentive yet. We need $50, but this is later tonight, and also certain that we can meet that. But yeah, we just need some donations towards these incentives, and I don't know, maybe you right out there right now could start donating, I don't know, $1 or $5 towards Save the Children, an amazing cause. Thank you very much, and back to you, Urinstein.
Yeah, back to me. Things haven't really changed. I'm currently on a bit of a timer, basically, because I ate one of my food items, one of my powerful food items, that I need to carry through a bunch of these fights to get the most out of it. So let me just concentrate on this one. There's one timing thing here. Okay, should be fine. Coming up is an interesting new tech that was found by a new runner during one of their PBs. So you might have seen these bombs in some of these puzzles. The bombs work funny in the way that you set them off and the timer goes off. Or rather, the timer starts. And then when they explode, quote unquote, it spawns basically an explosion object into the game after the bomb timer ends. And as the new runner found out, shout out to Luigi, you can manage to change rooms in between the timer running out and the object being spawned. And then the object spawns in the other room, in the next room that you're entering instead. So, actually, let me show you this. Here are these boulders, okay? I can't destroy them from here. Oh, that's open. But I can explode them from here. I'll just use this bomb to explode the rocks on the other side. And they're gone. So that's a timing thing. I'll need to... Oh, no, don't. I'll need to concentrate on this one. Ah, it was too late. So there's some boulders I want to explode here as well. This is my least favorite bomb warp out of the two. I can't. Man, why does this one always feels much earlier than the other one? We'll get there. There you go. So that boulder right there is gone. That probably still saved time, even though I messed it up 3 times. Normally this fight, I can't even explain what you're supposed to do here. You're supposed to wait for this bot to drop a bomb. Imagine doing that 3 times. Oh, why did I do it like that? Whatever. So yeah, now I can just run through here. And we're already almost done with the first half of the dungeon. Already. It probably took me 7 minutes or something. I'm slow, okay? Don't judge. This boss has a quick kill. I will have to concentrate on. It's not the hardest quick kill, but I'll have to concentrate on it. You basically just spam him, but you don't want to be standing on the wrong foot, so to say. Hello? Okay. That was good. Yeah. So what he would normally do is sort of he would morph with these ants and become, I don't know, Super Saiyan or something. And by going fast and hitting him in the back really, really early, we can stop him from doing that, and that saves a lot of time. Okay. Now we've unlocked our first element. So we're playing the video game now. Each element comes with its own skill tree. So we have a bunch of skill points there to spend. And each skill tree comes with its own combat abilities. So those special attacks I've been using so far, I'll get another pair of those. So you're going to be pretty loaded at the end of the game with just a bunch of different special attacks that you can use at your will. And as a reminder, I'm doing the second half of the dungeon for the key. The first key that lets you open chests. That comes right after this fight. Now, why did I position myself so badly? I was well positioned there. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Alright. So here we've got our key. It's not a big time investment, so we can easily do it. Technically speaking, you have to do it anyway because of something, but even if you didn't have to, we would do it. Now we're going to do another one of these berry skips to get to the next relevant overworld area. I mean, straight up the next overworld area, but yeah. Instead of doing the dungeon to the end, we can just come back here where we already were, and we have all of our favorite horseshoes straight to the next quest. And the next quest is talking to this person, and this person tells us to clear a little mini dungeon. We will have to go to a mini dungeon next that has a mini boss fight, and on the way there we will once again collect some gear, collect some items to sell, and we will be picking up this guy. This is Citron. He's now our team party member. The C stands for cunt because he's a big asshole. That mini-boss fight that's coming up, it's gonna have a precise setup for a quick kill. Usually what the quick kills look like is you want to get a health gate. So when the health bar consists of like 2 or 3 health bars, you want to get it to the end of one of the health bars, probably. That's how most of them work. And then use a bunch of combat arts. That's basically how it works. But your party member can just wail on the boss as much as they like. So you're setting up the boss's health for a quick kill, and they just sort of ruin it by hitting them before you are ready to do the quick kill. And that's what Citron will probably do to me in just a couple of minutes. Hello? That's why we don't like him in the speedruns. Normally in the game, casually, you can tell your party members to not combat, to not take part in combat. We can't, because in the very beginning, the first time we went to Cross Central, with the place with those barriers and teleporters, we skipped the part of the game where we unlock the ability to manage our party. So we will just have to do as they want to. You can see it here in the quick menu, this bottom menu, it just doesn't exist. It's just grayed out. Alright, I'm just gonna sell my old gear and some other stuff. And get some new gear. As I said, gear is king. Gear is important. We will be always under leveled, that's fine. We will be sometimes under geared, that's not so fun. Yeah, let me put on my stuff. Alright, here's this mini dungeon. And it consists of only the same enemy type. It's always this worm. Whoops. And the way they work, or the way that you're supposed to, and we're gonna kill them, is we attack them with the heat element a bunch, which then breaks them, and once they're broken, they get angry. Their attacks are pretty strong, but that's not too much of a problem. The important thing is they become weaker to attacks. So, whoops. Oh, this is going horribly. This is going horribly. Just calm. What are you doing? Just stay in a place for once. Alright. So yeah, you attack them with heat, and then you can attack them normally, in the normal element, and you can deal a lot more damage than before. So why do I choose this enemy out of all of them? This is the first enemy I'm telling you how to kill them. It's because the mini-boss here is basically just a variation on this. The mini-boss here has 2 health bars, where you both times have to do the same thing, basically. But in between being able to do that, you first have to kill his minions. So he will be up on a platform, and you can't get to him. And you first have to kill his minions, and then you can get to the platform and break him, and then the platform goes down and you kill him. Give me a minute. Yeah, okay, cool. So you have to do that 2 times, which is not fun. What if you didn't have to do that 2 times? I just bought a combat ability called Ashen Mines, which puts down a time bomb, basically, onto the ground. And what we'll try is putting them onto this platform. Ah, I got hit by something. Okay, well, I only got 3 on there, so only if I get very lucky it's gonna work. I would need a crit. Didn't get a crit. You might have gotten the idea. We almost broke him, and the moment he would be broken, he would come down, and we wouldn't have to do this, and I wouldn't have to be at low health and spooked out. It's quite easy to die here if you're bad like I am. At least Citron is pulling aggro. Alrighty. That was an expected quick kill not to get. Coming up soon is another quick kill I'm not expecting to get, but no biggie. Whoops, whoops. Talk to the man. Talk to the man. Okay. So that's that quest. Now we're gonna get access, after these cutscenes, to the next dungeon. However, there's this green-haired guy that wants to talk to us. Yeah, if you're familiar with the game, you might have noticed that we skipped Apollo, the Apollo fight in Autumn's Rise. What am I... Yeah. This is where I'm going. We skipped our first meeting with Apollo, but the second one we can't. We wouldn't know how. Well, we would know how. But I can't do it, let's say. So I gotta beat his face right now. He is an annoying fight, but I practiced this, so it shouldn't be too bad, should it? Ouch. This is a PvP fight. Technically speaking, he has the same abilities as we have. One thing I'm exploiting here is the perfect guard. If you shield at the right time, which I didn't do there, you will stun the opponent. So it's a parry, basically. Well, you will parry on, you will stun them on certain moves. Usually if they have some sort of dash attack or something, you can do that. Okay, that was easy enough. If you are familiar with the game, you might know that you can actually lose against Apollo and just continue the game. We don't want to do that because it's slow, but also because he gives us over 2,000 experience. He gives us a lot of experience. So those 2 level ups are very useful. Experience is scarce in a run where you skip most of the game. So we don't say no to that. And here's the next dungeon. So here's the first half of the dungeon. And I literally meant that was the first half of the dungeon because there's a bunch of horseshoes here that we're gonna skip with some very precise shots. If I could get them. Oh, easy enough. And that's already the first half of the dungeon. If you think back to the previous dungeon, how long that took, the first half there. Is this what I'm getting? Yes. Yeah. We saved probably at least 5 minutes. I wouldn't know. This dungeon, this bottom part of the dungeon hasn't been done in a long time by anyone in a speedrun. And here's the mini-boss of this dungeon. This boss guards the elemental upgrade. Has a quick kill, and the quick kill is basically just wail on him in between health bars, but it's kind of tricky, you have to press the right buttons at the right time, and you have to not get bad RNG. Yeah, I didn't like how early he started hacking. That always makes it tricky. Never lucky, man. Never lucky. Oh my god. Okay, this is a train wreck and a half, this fight. Please shoot the bubbles. I need these guys to shoot these bubbles, and I need them to shoot them in a way that I can actually hit the boss. Thank you. Alright. Yeah, not getting quick kills is not the end of the world. At least not in a marathon run. And then we have our second element. Now this dungeon, we will do the entire second half. So even though basically we're done with this dungeon, technically speaking, but again in the second half there's interesting things we want. So there's the next set of keys to open silver chests, and I hate this jump. And this this dungeon boss, unlike the previous one, will give us a combat upgrade, and we really like those combat upgrades. It would be a boring run if for some reason not getting the combat upgrades were faster, but it doesn't seem like it is. And as previously, this dungeon is a good opportunity if there are any messages to read, any information about Save the Children, perhaps.
Yeah, I can talk about Save the Children. So, Save the Children are working worldwide in 120 countries for over 100 years already, and they are giving children a future. Yeah, in 2019 alone, they reached 144 million children through their comprehensive programming and emergency response. And by 2030, they want to make sure that they want to ensure 3 global goals, which is 1, that no child should die from preventable causes. 2, that all children should have access to a quality basic education. And 3rd, that no child should be a victim of violence. In addition, all your donations can make an impact. For example, $1 already can provide 4 children with treatment against pneumonia. which is a life-threatening illness, or if you want to donate some more, $10 can provide high-nutrient peanut paste to a malnourished child for 10 days. So please consider donating. It's all for a great cause. We're still going for some time. We have some incentives coming up, and yeah. All your donations will be read here on stream. So if you have something to say that you always wanted to read out, then now's your time for it. Thank you very much, and back to you, Urinstein.
I just picked up that key I was talking about. So 1 out of 2 objectives here are done. So really we're gonna be spending a lot of time just to get the combat upgrade here. You will see soon, right after this dungeon, that the combat arts are not only good in combat. Actually, I mean, you've already seen it. We use a combat art to skip through past the barriers in Cross Central. So these combat arts unlock very powerful skips, and level 2 combat arts do that as well, which is why we want this, and which is why we invest a lot of time here to save it later. Gonna make a save here. It's actually faster to just save and reload because it puts you at the beginning of the room. So that's the only time we do that in the run. And this one. And these puzzles, oh my god, I messed it up. I never messed this up. My setups. So yeah, in this here's a bunch of like pushing puzzles. I don't actually need to push anything. This is not the best way of doing it, but you can solve this one without pushing anything. Let me try. I normally push 1 block here. Ah, there we go. It's really not worth it because it's so finicky, and you have to do it twice. Hey, nice. Okay. The first two dungeons feel very different from the second, from all the other ones. What did I do there? A lot of the puzzles are very, very skippable. You can just jump over a lot of stuff with just normal long jumps. In the later dungeons, they put a bunch of fences and walls. I don't know if that had a reason, but it changes the characteristics of the dungeons in this speedrun. There will be other ways to skip the content of the other dungeons, though. Don't worry. I like this fight. It gets interesting now, because again, these guys, they drop those bubbles, and then you need a bubble to kill the, what's his name? Golem. Magmizer. It's a golem to me. You kill the Magmizer with the bubbles that the other enemies shoot. I always love that kind of stuff when the enemies sort of gel together mechanically, and it's a fun active puzzle. Okay, I'm just gonna do my skill tree real quick. I'm getting this and this. Let's not do this wrong. And I'm switching that, and I'm putting my new hat, the dented crown. Let's go. Hello, die. This fight is more straightforward. There's not much puzzling stuff to it. It's just the same guy over and over again, and there's no puzzle mechanic tied to them. Alright. That's the main part of the second half of the dungeon. What we missed in the previous dungeon is this. We call it a key puzzle. You sort of have to babysit a projectile as it goes through I don't know what to call it. It's basically Takeshi's castle for a projectile. And this unlocks the key fight, which is usually a more fun, well, a more involved fight is what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't call this one fun in particular. Oh yeah, right. Always gotta remember what you're supposed to do on which wave. This one we shoot with the combat art. And this guy didn't get hit. Hello. Oh, that worked. Okay. I'm not usually good at those. Alright. And that gave us the key to the boss of the dungeon. So now you will finally see a boss of the dungeon. It might... yeah, you won't be seeing many of them. And I wouldn't say this is the most spectacular one out of the bunch, but it's better than nothing. We take this and this. Hello. Oh, I wouldn't even know what to tell about this. It's pretty straightforward. You have to shoot the boss through this lantern. And then the boss gets sad and you wail on him. The only exploit here is jumping across. Oh right, there's like these, so these dash arts, they can double down as long jumps, and they're kind of better than long jumps to some degree. They can get you even further, so I will be using this more often going forward. Oh, that's already the boss. Yeah, we've already seen it before, but you can cancel the jump state also with a combat art. And when the combat art just sort of shoots you forward, well, that's one way to clear a gap. And that turned out to be very powerful if you buffer them correctly, so you get a very, very, very precise timing on them. We can use this quick menu that I keep pulling up every now and then. We can use that to buffer stuff, generally speaking, and dash arts specifically. Hello. There's these dream sequences that they are story related, and there's nothing to say about this. Don't worry if you're wondering what the heck this is. All right. So as before, we're done with the dungeon. So first thing we do is we take the shortest way to the next overworld area with the dungeon in it. This time, so we will again, through Cross Central, we will skip one of the berries. I just have to get my teammates, my party members here real quick for soft locking reasons. We will be skipping 2 entire chapters of the game, so that's 2 overworld areas where there are no dungeons. We will be skipping those, so we will be very underleveled, very undergeared. Okay, well. There we go. Okay, that worked without delta limiter. Perfect. Oops. And we will be getting 2 combat arts. One of them is called Blizzard Hawk. The other is called Flare Burn. We will talk about Flare Burn in like 10 minutes or so. I don't have so much time to talk about everything at the same time. Blizzard Hawk. Blizzard Hawk we're going to use really quick, very soon. Blizzard Hawk is an attack that deals damage twice, maybe 3 times, doesn't matter. Let's say twice. The first time it deals damage right in front of you, it deals a little bit of damage, and then the game will check every entity that got damaged by you just like a half a second ago will also be damaged by the next hit of the Comet Art. And it sort of like pushes them up and freezes them and whatever. The interesting thing is that it doesn't have to be Blizzard Hawk's damage. It can be any damage you deal. And there is actually a way to deal damage to yourself. Can you please jump over this? Thank you. These enemies here, they have a they can give you an elemental malice. Oh, don't worry about what I'm doing, by the way. I'll explain that later. So they can give you taking damage, and that taking damage counts as you damaging yourself. So now if you can time your self damage with the Comet Art that shoots entities up in the air, we can use that to create some airtime. Because right here, here's the next dungeon, but there's like a bunch of people blocking our way. So if only we could find a way to get over them, instead of doing the quest that we would have to do to clear the way. That's a long quest, we're not doing that. Okay, now I'm gonna get SP, because I'm gonna be using that combat ability twice. Oh, please don't. Please don't. Okay. That should be good. Also, because self-damage, we gotta unequip our weapons. And we're gonna get this elemental thing. I'm gonna be taking damage, and I'm gonna time this Comet Art. 1, 2, 3, 1. And it shoots me straight in the air. And I fucked up the second one. Frick. Oh, okay. So, yeah. We can use that. We call it moon jump because back then we thought that was high. It can go much higher, actually, in the game, but that should be high enough to get into these dungeons, and it is. I just gotta go for a backup here real quick because I messed up the second moon jump. Don't worry about this, I'm gonna explain this later. And also don't worry about the cutscenes and pop-ups and everything that's coming up. It's not that important. The important thing is we're in the next dungeon. The important thing is we're in the next dungeon, and we'll get our next element here. This next dungeon, it consists of a big middle room, so we'll be clearing a few rooms at first, and then we'll get to a big room that has like 2 weirdly shaped horseshoes, so it's maybe more of a pretzel. It doesn't matter too much. We'll be skipping all of that because they sort of all lead back into the main room, and then in the main room you can go to the elemental room where we get our elemental upgrade, which is what we need. Let me eat this. Let me change this and equip these. So we will be skipping the vast majority of this dungeon. You will soon see how. Until there's like 2 fights. I messed that up already. Yeah, I should mention again, we are very underleveled and importantly very under-geared. I picked up 1 good weapon from this overworld area, but all of our other gear is best case from 3 overworld areas ago, which is bad. So one upcoming fight, I'm gonna have 1 easy fight and then 1 hard fight, and yeah, that hard fight is hard partly because of my gear being bad. And because the fight is hard, I'm gonna have to concentrate a bit. There's a lot going on there. It's very choreographed, very tightly. Oh, right, that's the skip, by the way. You're not supposed to... You're supposed to unlock these jumpers that send you across by doing a whole lot of puzzles. We're not doing that. We're just using this dash art to get across. Problem solved. Oh, I already messed up the first part of this fight. No biggie. So we're basically at like past the midpoint of the dungeon, and we're fighting to unlock our element, which is really all we need to do here. Oh, that's so unlucky, man. Why does burn work so badly? No, I'm not doing that. I hate life. Oh, please. Okay. Health kinda low. We'll manage, we'll manage. Surely. Ouch. Oh god. All right, that's fine. The rest of this the rest of this fight is easy enough. Just gotta count. I have to kill 12 of these guys. So if you excuse me, I'll have to count in my head a bit. That's the 4th one. Nice. So you want to know how many have spawned so you can clear them all in one swoop at the end. And that's the dungeon. And not only are we now picking up the element in this dungeon so we can leave, we also just picked up the final chest key. So we have all keys that we need to open any chest in the game. And if you remember, we were already in the very final area of the game, where the best equipment is stored in chests. So we can come back here and actually do something here. And now it's time to talk about... why did I meant to cancel that because my setup was not working. Flare burn. Flare burn is a combat art that makes Slayer jump in the air. And anytime you get the chance to go in the air, you're gonna try and break it. Because by dashing or by jumping into a diagonal wall, you can land on top of the wall. Normally there's no way to ascend, there's no jump button, and even if there were, you wouldn't jump that high. But by dashing into that diagonal wall and then using Flare Burn, which is one of the few combat arts that will not reset your momentum to 0. Normally you do a combat art and then she just stops going forwards or back. What did I do with my flaming buns? Oh, this is bad. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but that sucks. So as you can see, I dash in there, and it's a weird mechanic that exists because if you walk to the edge of a platform, the devs didn't want you to slip down by mistake, so they made the edge push you inward. And there's some weird interaction where you go over the platform from below, and if you have a bit of momentum towards it, the game will let you stay on top of it. So I will be using Flare Dash. We call it Flare Dash, of course, because you have to dash in most cases to achieve this effect. You will be seeing me do it a couple more times, particularly in the next dungeon. Oops. Also, why did I choose to eat my food way ahead of time instead of eating it here? I actually failed this fight twice in practice. Let me swap this. Let me put on my equipment. So I've got way better equipment now. That's level 57 weapon instead of 28 8 or whatever that was. This is hopefully a quick fight. This used to be one of the worst fights in the speedrun, and then Symph came up with a fantastic new strat. Shoutouts. And this is possibly the best weapon in the game. Warkeeper. Good name, I don't know what the reference is. And now that we're decked out on equipment, we can go and do the next dungeon. It's right next to the previous one. And this is where we unlock our final element. Isn't that exciting? Oh, that actually worked. Wowzers. The horseshoe metaphor doesn't work here anymore. This dungeon is weirdly structured. It's full of teleporters, so you can't really talk about it spatially, sort of. I'm gonna be breaking this dungeon in half, but I can't tell you how. Basically just I ignore walls. As you can see, I can go up walls. I can... later I'll be going through a wall. Oh my god, how do I... Okay, whatever, there's a backup. If I can... Yeah, easy. It's not optimal, but... I hate life. Should be good. Should be good. So again, I can climb up here, and then I can go through this fence. I don't like that setup. This should be fine. Yeah, you just use a flare dash to phase through that fence. We don't really know what's up with the geometry there, but a diagonal fence is clippable quite easily. They're clippable otherwise as well, but not so easily. And that's almost all of that dungeon also. So we're again at this fight, as there was a fight in the previous dungeon. There is a fight here. What was I... Yeah, I was gonna do this and... this, right. But this time, my equipment is great and this fight is easy, and except I get bad luck with the enemy behavior. Can you die? Can you die? Can you die? Okay. Oh, okay. Do I take the risk? I'll take the risk. Looks good. I need some SP for right after this, so you gotta kind of judge your SP bar and how you're gonna make it up, what you spend. So we're done with all the elements. Technically we can go and beat the game, but again, there might be something of interest somewhere else. There is a third dungeon right here. There is a third dungeon right here. There's no element to be gotten there. We've got them all. There's only a combat upgrade. And for that combat upgrade to be worth it, we gotta clear this dungeon fast. So basically to us it's completely optional. So we better have a good idea what we're doing here. This is the first half of the dungeon, and I'm gonna try to clear it in one big swoop. Again, it's basically just two horseshoes right next to each other. Alright, so what normally you're supposed to do is there's an entrance at the bottom left there, and here you come out. So there's a bunch of puzzle rooms in between. And to press those buttons, you're supposed to actually clear the dungeon. But we're just gonna abuse this puzzle mechanic here and our ability to do very simple long jumps and oh my god, oh, I hate myself. I messed up my circuits. Either I have to redo this room. Do I redo this room or do I try this stuff with bad circuits? I'm gonna need this and this. I'm gonna need most of this stuff. Oh, I hate myself right now. What do we get? Yeah. I'm just gonna try like this. Bad circuit time. Don't talk and do your circuits at the same time. Man, I don't like this. Here's a mini boss. I don't know if I can quick kill I don't know if I can quick kill him now because I messed up my circuits. He has 3 health bars and we're gonna try to clear them all in one. Oh, it's easy. The game is easy. I overkilled him by 2000 or something. Yeah, what I used there are just 2 combat abilities. One pins him down and the other shoots him as a bonus. And then here's the second half of the dungeon already. Same thing. 2 horseshoes. Boom, that's the left side. That's the left side of the top side of the dungeon. And here on the other side, again, a horseshoe. Here's the entrance to this entire section of the dungeon. And yet, they put the very end of it here as well. So I can just jump straight across to the end of the section, get the key. We're done. That's basically the dungeon. All that's left is the key puzzle. There's not even a key fight here. There's just a key puzzle and the final boss. So this dungeon is worth it because we're gonna get that combat upgrade, get level 3 combat arts, and an extra SP bar. So we'll have a lot of SP. Don't grab it. It's the final proper dungeon, and it's the shortest one in this category. Alright, we're gonna eat. I ate my food. Yeah, I'm not gonna get the quick kill on the whale here, but what can you do? The quick kill on the whale is RNG dependent anyway. There's a precise setup, as I explained before. You want to set up the health bars very precisely, and then use combat arts on them. But if you crit them by mistake, which happens a lot, you crit this whale a whole lot. Oh my, he hit me. I can't believe this. It doesn't matter. Like, I wasn't gonna get it anyway. I just wanted to sort of show the idea. Oh no. Oh. Oh, now I didn't think about what I need to do when I don't get the quick kill. Well, now I've ruined this entire fight. It's gonna take forever. I should have just gotten Berserk. Oh, he only does 2. I've never been in this position. Oh my god. Oh, this is the worst thing that happened to me all week. I need to not die. I need so much to not die. I could maybe just die and retry. Okay, that wasn't even planned, but fine. We'll just retry the entire fight. It might be faster, who knows. Something had to go majorly wrong. The only thing that went majorly wrong so far was rookie jump. And that one's not such a big deal. Ah, it's not gonna... Oh, wait, it did. Okay, let's see. And he lives with like 3 pixels of health. So if I had done my circuits, my skill tree properly, he would be dead. How the fuck? Oh my god, I'm messing up in new inventive ways. You're seeing a master at his craft. Where are you? Why are you up there? Oh, okay. So the whale died there. I don't have any health. This is... I don't need... all I have is water. Okay. What is this pattern? Why is he in shock? Why is he in wave? I can't, man. Oh, I should... Perfect. Man. I don't know where I ate 1 extra food. Maybe on Apollo. I think I shouldn't... No. On the scorpions, I mean. On the pincers, I shouldn't have eaten that food. I'm getting so lucky with crits on the setup, but I'm not getting lucky with crits on the kill. Life is cruel. What are you doing? Stop dancing around. Okay. Was that much of a problem? Shouldn't have been. Oh, I'm so bad on time. I'm genuinely really bad on time now. I mean, disappointingly bad. Maybe not terribly bad according to the estimate, because the estimate is very high. Because of course this would happen. Alrighty. Well, that only took 10 minutes long, but okay. That happens when you mess up your... Oh, I didn't even have food. I messed up everything for that fight. I managed, like 30 minutes apart, I managed to mess up that fight in 2 different ways. At least I have some downtime now. There's not gonna be any relevant gameplay for the next 6-7 minutes. I'm not sure. I would say spoilers start now. Story relevant spoilers start now. As we're gonna have to go through a bunch of cutscenes to get into the end game. So yeah, I will be running around. I will be getting 1 chest here just to sell it, and then I'll be doing some shopping at the end of all the cutscenes, and then we can go to the end game. So this would be again a good opportunity for some messages.
Alright. So I've already talked about the Toon, the Illusion of Gaia incentives. So tonight we also have the Pokemon Crystal Run. We have 2 build wars for this run, and both of them are shaping up to be quite interesting. So, we first have the starter Pokemon. This can either be called... So, currently we have $10 for Lanky and $3 for Monmon. Or you could come up with your own option. I'm just here to tell you that is an option. If you donate at least $11, you can get your own option in Elite. As for the trainer name, we have $60 for Eddie. Who's Eddie? I don't know, but he's here to be our trainer name in Elite with $60. So if you want to change that, you'll have to put in $61. Also, tomorrow in the morning, we have the Fire Emblem Three Houses run. We have a bit war for the character name, which is currently empty. And we also have the category bit war. You can either choose Crimson Flower or Verdant Wind. Crimson Flower is in the lead with $5, and I hope that will stay like that. Anyways, thanks for that, and yeah, keep donating, and back to you, Urinstein.
Yeah, right at the right time to just say hello to Shizuka, if anyone's familiar with the game. I'm glad she's waiting here. She's been waiting here for an hour and 15. We saw her at the very beginning of the run. She's been waiting there patiently. She's such a sweet girl. And now we get to talk to her for the first time in the run. Oh. There's really just like it isn't even like this in casual that there's just gonna be so many cutscenes in a row, but we don't want to do any optional content, which normally you would want to do. Get some more equipment, finish some side quests before you go to the very end game. We don't. So we're just gonna go from one long cutscene to the next long cutscene. So now we're gonna jump over to the guild and fast forward through there. What's there left to say that I wouldn't want to say later? At this point in the run, we have a passive ability that is called Berserk. And we get it both from our skill tree as well as from our equipment. Berserk gives you extra damage when you're low on health. So, not immediately, but soonish, you're gonna see me going into some fights and taking deliberate damage. And maybe sometimes killing myself by mistake, or maybe by getting critted. So that's something to keep in mind. I might bring it up again, though. Here we're gonna do our last bit of shopping. We're gonna sell the old equipment we're not using. Ah, there's always one more thing here. We buy a laser mail because our best chest piece so far is still level 5 or something from from Autumn's Rise. And we bought a bunch of good foods. There are some expensive, strong foods you can buy. That's what we needed a lot of that money for. I will be eating a lot more food now than I did through the previous run altogether. Food is already powerful, and this food is especially powerful. Except for like the final boss, where I'll be eating some weirder combinations of foods, though I will be eating spicy beetle types, which just give me a whole bunch of melee damage. That's all it does. Oh man, here normally would be a very, very, very long... yep. Maybe not like this. Very long combat section an incredibly long combat section. I don't even know how long, maybe 20 minutes if you're really good. I just skipped that by doing one flare dash out of that fight. And you go out of that fight is still active, and the game doesn't know to activate all the other events that are supposed to happen here in this area. So we're now in the final dungeon. And I'm very happy that we skipped that stuff, because that stuff is not even... Okay. Oh, yeah, okay, well, that works too, if you heal yourself. I need 3 SP here. Yeah, I'm very glad we don't have to do that previous section. That one is awful as a speedrun. There will be a bunch of horseshoes coming up again. So at the end of those horseshoes will be a switch each behind a wall. So what can I do about that? Well, wouldn't it be useful if I could spawn if I could spawn a hitbox behind a wall? Oh, I've got tutorials on. No thanks. I know how to use that. Wouldn't it be fun if I had a comment art that spawns a hitbox behind this wall? Oh, frick. And activates that switch. And I don't have to go through like 3 or 4 rooms of combats and puzzles and fun adventures. And instead I can just finish this game real quick. Man, does this dungeon really not have music? That is so stressful. It's almost more stressful than the combat music. And we just skipped so much stuff there. I'm gonna change this back. I'm gonna eat this food and go into heat element. There'll be a couple more fights and like one puzzle. There's one puzzle you can't skip in this entire dungeon. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Here's an enemy you will never get to see because I'll try to kill him before you do. This is a level 3 combat art, by the way. They're kind of good. That enemy has a lot of health, otherwise. And then here is the first time you see me abusing Berserk. So I will be taking a bunch of damage. So I can get one-hit kills on these. Well, not quite one-hit kills, but quick kills on these turrets here. That's so much damage. For this one, I don't need buzz. Oh my god, well, that way. I messed that up. No big deal though. Okay. Now I gotta wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the mic. I gotta manage my health, so I had to wait for that heal to come in. I'm gonna try the same thing on this guy. And on this guy. And that didn't work. I don't know why. That's actually weird. But yeah, that just adds like 5 seconds of waiting. And he's dead. Normally you got a S-bot right now. Yeah, thanks Yoshi. Yeah, the previous fight went probably badly. So my food item ran out and I ran out of damage. And then here's the last puzzle of the game. It's one of these key puzzles again where we have to help this projectile through a maze. It's pretty tricky, casually. Like when you do it casually, it's annoying at first. There's a lot to do and to not forget because you do so many things and the ball travels for so long. When you do it for the 100th time, this is very easy and very boring.
Do we have time for quick donation?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good time.
Alright, we got $10 by Epic Yoshi Master with the comment: "Hype to see Urinstein showing off CrossCode. Awesome run so far. Show the endgame who's boss." Thank you very much for your donation.
Thank you, Yoshi. Yoshi, another runner of the game. Who's coming next? You. Alright. We've got a couple of active runners at the moment. And it's a fun time to be a CrossCode runner. Special shoutouts go to Yoshi because she's made a bunch of mods recently for speedrun purposes and practice purposes. This game is very moddable. And yeah, I already mentioned earlier, even our auto splitter is made as a mod. Did I mention that earlier? I should have. We've got a couple of run legal mods even to make the game more consistent, more playable across different machines. All right, we're at the final boss, and I gotta take good care this time that I don't mess up all my circuits, because if I don't get the quick kills here, this is not... it's not gonna be good. We want to have our house in order. We will want to do these. Is everything fine here? Yes. And we're gonna equip, for the first time we're gonna equip a torso piece that's not level 13. And we're gonna save the game just to be sure. I'm gonna eat some funny foods that help with SP management. And this boss has a lot of health bars, so it's in our interest to find a way to take down multiple of them. Oh, that's the wrong element. I misread the color he's in. Every time we clear one of his health bars, he will come down, stomping on us. And during the stomp, he is vulnerable. So I'm gonna do basically a similar thing to that ape enemy. Oh fuck. I tried to say one sentence and I already, oh my god, I tried to speak while playing the video game and I die. At least that was early. And at least, oh, we got plenty of time. This is why we saved. So he is vulnerable while he's stomping on us. And we use Battery Assault, which is probably our very favorite combat art in the game, to attack him while he's like jumping around, flying about. It hits him anyway somehow. I didn't need that to happen, really. I didn't need that to happen at all. Okay. The only trick here is to use God Sphere. God Sphere is a combat art that just gives you a shield from any direction for a bit. So you can actually tank his stomp without getting hit out of your combat art. So this is what it should have looked like just earlier. And we're going to be taking some damage. I mentioned Berserk, and it is in our interest here again to be in Berserk at least a little bit of the time. Because if you have full health and you don't get good crit rolls and damage rolls, this strat might not work. You might use Battery Assault and it doesn't kill him. or it doesn't clear one of his health bars. English is hard. So again, I'll be managing my health here, and with managing I mean I'll face tank all these attacks. And I'll need to manage my SP. That was good. Alright, now I'm like well in the red zone here. So this can't possibly fail. And this is merely the first half of the fight. Now he'll transform into Big Elephant Man. Ow. And now here again, I will have to manage not only my SP but my health. Coming up is an attack called Wave Motion Beam. That's the official name of the combat art, Wave Motion Beam. What Wave Motion Beam does is it uses up my health and transforms it into damage. So we found a way. I didn't find that way, but I'm gonna use that way of getting a whole lot of health while being in the process of using Wave Motion Beam, so that we don't run out of it and the attack doesn't end. Normally the attack ends. Why am I... Oh, my mouse... oh, my mouse was not changing elements there. What was I saying? I need to concentrate. On the setup, my health needs to be very specifically low. Normally the attack would end when my health gets low, but every time we take a health bar from him, we get healed by 30%. Also, we have a bunch of passive heal buffs on our wave element and the food we just ate, and our health just doesn't run out. It just keeps healing back up, and we keep dealing damage. And when this health bar ends, that's the run. That's the entire final boss fight. It would normally take like 5 entire minutes, and it's all down to like 2. And that's the run, and I'm so glad it's over. Thank you very much. Thanks for the GGs. Man, CrossCode is so stressful. I usually run like 30-minute games. This is... I'm not submitting anything again that's longer than 30 minutes. Thanks for watching. If I can just give some shoutouts, because I really, really, really like the CrossCode community. The runners are great. The modding community is great. We get a lot of help by the modding community in the speedrunning group. The developers are great. We get a lot of help from the developers too. Like this version of the game, we're not running in the latest version of the game because they had to fix some. They had to take some tech out of the game. It was too stupid, like this one we just saw. But they uploaded the speedrun version of the game to Steam so that it's easy to download and so that it's easily moddable. So they really help us a lot. And special shoutouts again to 2767, Yoshi, and Symph, who had... Oh, I want to mention Firecrow. Everyone who's on the leaderboard, but those 4 people in particular, have had a massive impact on how fun it is to run this game recently. And I would be happy to have more runners. We've had some new runners recently, and it's been a lot of fun being active in this game for once. And yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Urinstein, for that amazing run. Coming up next, we've got Anna's Quest by Toga.